5:45. We'll call the meeting to order, and Mr. Young gets to get sworn in.
Just have to stand up, raise your right hand.
Face me.
I, Tom Young, have been appointed to the office of Golf and Cemetery Board within and for the city of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and the ordinances of the said city of Mitchell, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all duties of the office of Golf and Cemetery Board.
That was good. And I got up. So it looks like he's...
Facebook.
Yeah.
They're honorable, Tom.
I'll send that to Hanson. All right, public input. Okay. We're doing election of officers?
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, now that you're an official board, it's required.
Gotcha.
Basically, what you'll do is you'll open the floor for nominations for president, and somebody else nominates somebody, and then first and second, and then all in favor, da-da-da. If somebody gets nominated and they're not here, that nomination can still stand pending the next meeting they attend if they officially accept it. So you have to do president, vice president, and secretary, treasurer.
Yeah. Yep.
It's open nomination, they're not here, right?
Yep, yeah, you can nominate somebody that's not here.
Called the railroad effect.
Yep.
I nominate Jeff McAfee for president.
Second.
Any other nominations?
Nomination ceased.
Ah, way to go.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The guys are not here.
All right, vice president. I'll nominate Brian again. Yeah, we'll keep it in the family.
Second.
And second. Any other nominations? Okay, all in favor of Brian as vice president, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And we have a secretary position?
It's just basically a third position in case you and Brian would be gone, that person has been on the meeting.
Of course, might not have a quorum if it goes down.
Well, that's true. All right, so we'll take nominations for secretary. And I'll nominate Tom Young.
I'll second that. Motion to cease.
Come on, let's see. All in favor of Tom Young as secretary, say aye.
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 What are you gonna do if both you and Tom are fishing and Brian's not here?
Well, then we're going to have the sergeant at arms, Joe Schlimgen,
Catching with three fish.
Assistant to the,
assistant to the regional manager. Yeah, we need our Dwight Schrute award. All right. Any additions or deletions from before? We're good on that. Minutes from the last meeting. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the March meeting.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Approval of bills. Okay. Revenue expense report.
We'll start on page 2 here. Let me pull this up for you. Revenue here at the cemetery is up compared to last year at this time, as you can see there.
That's not good, is it?
I wasn't gonna comment either way. People might be thinking more about it. It seems like lot sales are up, so people are just thinking about it, so.
Good way to,
Yeah.
good explanation.
On page 3 here, you can see our expenses are just a little bit down from last year at this time. No real explanation on that, just showing you kind of where things are. And of course, salaries are going to be down this year throughout the whole year since we don't have a permanent director position in place. Next page here. Looks different on my paper here. Again, revenue at the golf course is way up from last year. We're at 94, and last year at this same time we were just over 20,000. I don't know if you have an explanation for that.
Well, it's just simply we open
Early.
almost a
Early.
month earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of that is just simply shifted. It'll be interesting in about another month, we should know. Huh?
Last year we opened it like the 23rd of March.
Yeah, we opened like the 8th of March this year. The 3rd of March.
This is just through March.
Yeah,
But we are anticipating
And
more.
last year we had the COVID thing where.
yeah, yeah. So I think once we get to the end of April and end of May, we'll really be able to tell how far we are ahead because we got a lot of memberships. Well, some of those memberships aren't going to come in April because we already got them. So I'm not saying we're not ahead. I'm just saying we don't truly know. I mean, we can look at greens fees and cart rentals, daily cart rentals and that kind of stuff. That stuff's all bonus, but as far as the memberships, and we do have 40 new members, so.
When we get to the revenue part, I mean, last year-to-date memberships is at 14,000 in March, so that was March 23rd, we only took 14,000 in March. This year we've taken just in March 52,500 in memberships. Range memberships, we took in 1,800 last year, we took in 9,000 already this year in March. Range balls, we only took in 101 in March last year, we took in 2,000 this year. Adult green fees, we took in 266,000, we took in 3,000 already in March in all categories. Cart rental, last year in the March, we only took in 1,300, this year in March, we took in 14,000.
So if you look in this category, this year, we're up in every category.
And I think when we opened in March last year, it wasn't the greatest of weather, it was still, April was a good
Yeah.
year last year, so it'll be, like Jason said, April was a good month last year, it'll be nice to see when we get through this April, it's been a good start to it, not this week, but it'll be. Last year, March, there was a lot of water. Yes.
Yeah.
We opened March 3rd and had probably, I'd say, out of the 31 days in March, 14 or 15 of them were really nice days, decent days.
Did you say 40 new members?
Yeah, it'll be on the.
Okay. And these are the golf course expenditures here. Again, just a little bit down from where we were last year. I don't, mainly in the insurance for some reason. I don't know why that insurance bill would be less.
Hmm.
I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, and some of those categories, there are some bills that aren't on this that would typically be on there by now, so.
Yeah, this is as of March 31st.
Yep.
And then getting into the bills. Do you have anything that you, mainly on page 56 here, find it. Okay, good. section here. Here it is right here. These are the real grinding repair for the, you want to talk more about that?
So for real grinding to alleviate some of the lack of labor, we outsourced our real grinding. So part of that went into the actual reel grinding, and then there were some repairs that we did as far as putting new reel stock in one set of reels, and then there was a bunch of bearings and stuff that were out. So, there's a bigger expense this year than would ever be in there, but it's kind of trying to alleviate on the salary side, so, or labor side.
Any other questions on bills? That's all I had that I wanted to point out.
I don't know if this is the place for it as far as revenue goes, but the salary was mentioned. I assume we're banking that salary?
That's correct, yep. Yep, so the cash would be increased.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I want to say we were at 55,000 in cash at the end of the last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's approximately, so that number would go up this year. But the golf carts are gonna take that down to, yep.
Would that have the effect on the insurance as well?
That insurance line?
Yeah, the insurance was low.
Yeah, I don't know why it was low.
I wondered if-
That would just help the cash, just keep, yeah, it just, money that stays there.
But that would come from staffing,
Yeah. Oh, no, not that
No,
insurance.
not that insurance.
That's a different insurance.
That's insurance.
This is for like, on the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at the insurance under the salaries, that is down. On the golf course side is down about not quite $3,000. So, and then it'd be down a little bit on the cemetery side too, also for the same reason.
That's all.
Okay. We need a motion to approve that, or is that more just informational?
Yeah, it's approval of bills, yep.
Okay, motion to approve the bills.
so,
Second?
yeah,
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Okay, any old business?
I don't know if it's old business or not, but I know I've talked to Jason, that we probably should start a tree farm. And then move trees into the golf course, so you don't have all of the golf course to water, or feed them, whatever you do.
City of Lot trees paid for,
Mm-hmm.
how big, 54 inch?
Actually, I don't know what the, you know what size the tree state is? Have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
I don't know what size it is, yeah. It's a good size, though. We would use it for the Christmas trees that we brought out here. I don't know what size those are, but it's a good sized tree.
Yeah.
You thinking having our own nursery?
Well, that's what, I mean, I think you got room out there by your shed, don't you?
There's opportunities for some, but it wouldn't be able to be a large nursery, but there's opportunities for some.
Half dozen, 24?
30, 40. Yeah.
That's that start, because probably within a year or so, or 2 years,
Yep.
you can move to the course.
Where we've been piling the tree brush, we're hoping to not pile it there anymore. We got it all removed right now. And there's, back behind the dirt piles, there's a little nook in the trees. We're hoping to limit the brush pile to that. And then if that gets full, then haul out. So that spot's an opportunity. There's part of the along the edge of the alfalfa field, that's a viable option. So there's areas that we can.
is that something that we could do beyond just golf course cemetery? I mean,
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I mean,
I don't know if you want to bring it up, you know.
I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, literally, I mean, that way the city addresses it rather than just, but I know for a fact that we're gonna be losing lots and lots of trees. And, you know, maybe we think ahead, I don't know, of course, how many trees do we trust in, you know, types of trees, we won't end up getting the next plague and
Yep.
wipe them out as well.
I had discussion with John Ball from SDSU on the phone, and then he actually stopped out the one time, and he gave a whole list of good alternatives and wide variety of different kinds of trees. And, I mean, every class I've sat through or meeting or whatever, they say variety, 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 and don't just plant one. And they really try to steer you away from maple because they're figuring maple's probably the next. So,
Well, I just wondered if that would be something, you know, if the city would have, you know, a place that we could start a tree farm.
mhm.
We being the city.
Yeah.
If there'd be any, you know, maybe there's no need,
Yep.
no call for it. I
Yep.
mean, obviously, we could use it at the golf course.
Well, I just looked at, you said you took out 74 trees.
Yep.
Rather than plant trees and drive all over the course to water them or take care of them.
Yep.
Nurture them for a year or 2 years, and
Yep.
I think the park got the machinery to move them.
Mhm. Yep.
Once they become mature or
Mhm.
strong or whatever you want.
Yep.
I just thought it'd be easier labor-wise too.
Yep.
I'd like to see that followed up on,
Yep.
from a city standpoint. I mean,
Yeah, well,
we've got, I mean, I think we probably, well, we used to have a nursery.
well, where the bike path goes through, where the dirt piles are,
Yeah.
that used to be a tree nursery when I was here in
Yeah.
high school. So, and it was, but what's left in there now, you would never move, and,
Well, frankly, to plant a tree farm, for example, you wouldn't have enough area to basically plan the way you need it to where you can go back in
Yep.
2 years, 3 years down the road and spade one up and move it
Yep.
without killing something else.
Yep.
I don't know, just thought.
Yep. Yep. Well,
Does Park still own that area that was called 55 acres of trees out there on the lake, or one time it did, I know.
Yep, and depending on if that becomes a spoil site, that might get all removed, so.
But, can you, just a question, if they dredge that and then they put that out, is that a place you can plant trees?
When it's done? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, rather than let it just go to weeds or whatever?
Yeah, it would be replanted immediately.
I mean,
Well, that's the place they're talking about having the winter
Yeah,
sports
yeah.
area.
I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
just a question.
Well, it's gotta be fairly cost-effective to have your own versus bringing them in each time.
yeah, anytime you increase size, it costs more and more to move it, especially if you don't have your own equipment.
Right.
And you
Well-
start buying containers from a nursery, I mean, you're talking $150, $250 per tree,
Right.
of any size.
But,
So,
out there, you'd have water close by. You could have pretty much automated,
Yep.
couldn't you?
yeah,
Irrigation
the
wells and-
one thing about having it anywhere out at the golf course, for, like you say, you have easy access to water. You just run a black poly pipe along the top of the ground, you poke holes where it's needed, and then you have minimal loss, barring Mother Nature,
Right.
so.
It was a good idea, Joe. Let the record reflect that Joe had a good idea today.
I want to read it on the minutes next month.
I'll take it on the minutes next
Irrigation Tree Farm. Okay, anything else? New business, clubhouse report.
Well, we can go, we kind of went over the revenue report, so maybe we can pull that back up from the golf course side, the revenue side right there. I think you had it up there. Or the first one here.
This one has all the revenue here.
If there's any questions on them, we took a few in February memberships, this current period during March, March 31st, 47,000 in membership. I didn't bring a printout of all the memberships, I had it on here, but it can't go, the names can't go out, so. But like we mentioned earlier, we have 40 new members, some of them are from the city employee deduction thing, new members to that, and a few on there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18 of them are single adult memberships, few of them are college memberships, three of them are couples, and there are 3 family memberships that are all new ones. And at the May meeting, I'll bring a printout, a handout to everybody, and that'll give us a better detail how many members we have this year. Memberships come through April and May.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Any questions on, I guess, the numbers show where they're at, what kind of March we had with the nice weather, everybody still wanting to get out.
So what is your feel, just being out there in terms of previous to now, do you think that we're looking for a lot of growth this year?
Yes, I mean, there's been days we've had, our busiest day so far has been 192 golfers, and we don't get that in the middle of summer. We haven't, I guess, 192 golfers. We've had probably 6 or 7 days where it's been 140 plus golfers on a weekday, most of the time weekends, so yes, increase in green fees and cart fees that went up a little bit this year, and it should be good. The way the memberships are going, I can go right into kind of the rounds played where we're at already for total membership numbers, but we had 383 rounds in March last year. We had 651, so almost double the rounds in March, with all the memberships coming here in March. Total membership numbers, last year we were at 123 total single adult memberships, we're already at 110. Couples memberships, we were at 86 last year, we're already at 62. College memberships, we were at 10 last year, we got 6 in March. Student high school memberships, we were at 28 last year, we're at 12. Those ones start coming in until school gets out. And family memberships, we were at 191 last year, this year we're at 120 just through March for family memberships. So we're at a total of 310 members, last year at 438. So if they keep coming in like they are, and this is just through March, and April started out already good over Easter weekend and this last weekend with memberships coming in, so I would project it to keep going like this. We just had our first high school event last Friday of 148 golfers, and that was good for that day, so yeah. I mean, you've seen it too, you came out even, I don't know, later in the evenings. There's a lot more people out there than there had.
And the driving range too.
Yeah, driving range is full all the time. We're already at almost 10,000 on range memberships, and it's just through March, so.
If you look up on the screen there, there's the 5-year for revenue for the last 5 years.
For March?
Yep, through March.
And granted, I mean, those numbers are skewed with what weather we have in March too.
Mm-hmm.
2017 was a decent March, 18 and 19, we didn't have much days in March, 20, not much in March, but it's just like Jason said, it all depends on once we get through the end of memberships coming in, how it goes with green fees
I was gonna comment, maybe we're missing, we need to add advertising to other areas. This weekend, when I went out, I mean, obviously there's semis pulling off to go to the driving range, so.
You played 36 holes and then the range.
That was the first.
Semi-cab was parked in, right by the driving range.
I appreciate, Jason, you getting the course ready so early.
Comments have been, I mean,
Here's, this one's looking at the end of April. We're ahead of where we were in 2017. And it's only April 12th. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong one. I was reading 2020. We're just a little bit under. Yeah. But we,
2021 going through April 12th.
the 12th, yeah, today. Yeah. The rest of them are through the end of the month. So we're doing very well.
There's a lot of people that are still down south, like Mark ran board for, he hasn't even come back yet, so there's a lot of people I haven't even seen yet coming through the golf course that will be getting their membership and everything, so.
We'll keep getting the borders open, we might have a lot of members up there.
Could advertise.
Should put some down on the border.
And just to put up, I know we're gonna talk about later, advertising revenue down there. I'm gonna be sending out, I sent out the advertising last fall with a letter in it. That we didn't send it out last fall. I'm gonna send it out here this week, probably this spring, with another letter that just says we're gonna go back on our regular billing schedule for the signs, the whole signs out there for sponsorships, for advertising. And like I said, next meeting, I'll have a printed handout of kind of the full membership numbers and stuff, everything. And one thing I did notice, I think Liz, doing a good job on, promoting the city discount. There's probably 15 of those new members are on the city payroll, stuff, through that, so it's been good there. Any questions, comments? I think that's all I have for the clubhouse report.
Okay, motion to approve clubhouse report. Tom, second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Superintendent report.
As far as the garden plots, we did a little bit of advertising here just to push them a little bit. Last year we did not fill up. As of right now, we have 37 spots available yet. Getting calls every day. So hopefully we fill up this year. For the cemetery, year to date, we're at 25 burials. It has slowed down the last month or so. This past week, we had one cremation, so I mean, it's slowed down significantly. We had a couple weeks early part of the year, I believe it was late January, where we had a fairly busy week or two. But other than that, since the first year, it's been fairly slow. Got just a couple more trees to take out in the cemetery side. We're in the midst of getting the stump grinder ready to go. Hopefully, we're kind of hoping maybe get started on grinding stumps maybe next week. Let's see. I think we're going to do all the cemetery stumps before we get into the golf side and get everything ready for Memorial Day and get that looking good because the golf course is going to take a little longer. Payloader, we're still waiting for parts on, so hopefully we get that back soon. I mean, just simple things on why we're waiting on the payloader. That machine is just hard to find parts for. We had to modify the motor mounts to make them work on that unit. On the golf course side, it's been great weather here so far. It's been very timely rains. It's just, that snow was helpful, and then we got in through and it got warm, and I turned on the irrigation right before that heat, and we got a little bit of water on, and then we got that 1.5 inches, so it's just been very nice, timely rains, and things dry out fairly quickly, so it's kind of a sign that it needs it. So I've had a few problems with the irrigation. I've had an irrigation break between 9 and 10 fairway, so I actually have 9 fairway isolated at the moment. So we got to get that fixed yet. There's a little bit of an electrical problem on the one section of the golf course. So the system that we have, it's just a lot of tracing back to get that section of the golf course running again. Other than that, irrigation's looking pretty good. We've had a couple updates on my central controller, and then I actually have gotten access on my phone through Rainbird. That's been a little bit of a, tried to get that done last fall, and that didn't work out, communication issue, so that will be great, so I can control that from anywhere or change anything I want. There is an update coming up that I'll need to do on irrigation. We'll be putting that in the budget for 2022. We're evaluating the golf cart bids. There's also the range dispenser control system is outdated, so if we have any issues with that this summer, they will help us out technically, but any component-wise, they're obsolete. So I just got the quote today or on Friday after I sent this out. That quote is good through the year because I let them know that I don't have it in my budget for this year, so they would honor that quote till next year. So
What are we looking at to upgrade that?
about 10,000. So it is we've looked at the system, and it is a fairly nice system as far as just paying with the credit card at the machine, and easier to track things, and there are some nice parts about it, but the biggest question is how will it mesh with our Clover POS system. That Clover is not one of their, they have certain POS systems that it meshes with flawlessly, and the one we have is not, so I have to get through those details yet.
They say you have to, can you run that range machine like we do now, where they
Yeah.
come in and they don't have to have that access?
Yeah,
out?
unless if we get something changed, that's the way we would have to do it, so.
I mean, I think there's an option on what we have now where you can, the prices out there and stuff, and I can have it.
And I don't got all the details yet on it. One of their services that is on the list is our T-sheet program right now. So that, there's a possibility there. Like I said, I knew we didn't have it in the budget, so I didn't totally dig into it yet, but it's something that's hanging out there, so. I've been in contact with Kevin Norby for the master plan. At first, he was going to, we were thinking the 26th of April to have a site visit, and in that would be a public input session. Talked to him here right before the meeting. He has a conflict on the 26th. He would still be able to come that day, but he would have to have a conference call at 5 o'clock. And we decided we didn't want to rush things just to get him out of here to do his conference call. So we're going to move it to the 27th, barring any conflict. So tentatively, he will get here about 11 o'clock. Him and I will go around the golf course and give him a tour of the course. Then we'll have the public session from 12:30 to whenever people stop coming or asking questions. And then when that's done, he'll go around, take pictures, do a more thorough evaluation of the golf course. And then if he needs me, I can be there whenever. So that's the general plan with that.
So the public meeting will be that day too?
Yes.
And will that be here or
We'll have that at the clubhouse.
at the clubhouse?
Yep. That way it's kind of flawless. I've talked to Eric about doing some kind of food. That way he can make a little money off it, but just for the fact that people can come out. If it's over their lunch hour, they can grab a bite to eat and they can be a part of the meeting. So we'll try to coordinate that also.
Will that be advertised?
Yep, we'll put a press release.
And put it on Facebook. And,
Where-
yeah, we'll get it out there.
Here it mentions Jeff Eric is on duty.
You're the girl master that day, Joe.
But yeah, so Kevin will be there for any thoughts, concerns, ideas that people want to be. And if you know somebody that can't be there that day, if they want to tell Jeff or myself or whoever their thoughts, and we can convey that to Kevin. And I could convey any messages to Kevin ahead of time also.
We can put a series of questions together too for online, people that want to just go online and comment.
Yeah.
And we can do something like that.
I got just a couple other things. We had a member pass away this last week. I won't mention his name, but the family was in today. They were inquiring about a refund. He had a full single membership cart and a range membership. He's played a couple rounds of golf. He's hit 40 buckets of range balls because that's just what he does. He hits a lot of range balls. So my thought is to refund the membership and the cart, unless if you guys feel that a full refund is, but that's what I was thinking.
I would support that.
Yep. So.
You've done these things before and you just prorate it.
Yep. So.
Stuff you have to do.
So that's what I was intending to do, but I just wanted to let you know, and if somebody had an issue with that, I'd go from there. But unfortunately, he's one of those that's been around for a while, and he finally joined this year, and kind of.
You probably should have board support rather than maybe coming and for advising, that's fine.
Yep.
But I don't want anybody in the city to come back on you.
Yeah.
Board approval? Yeah.
Well,
It'd be more along the lines of approving a policy for him. Approving a policy, so that way he has a guideline to go off, so he doesn't have to bring it up every time something comes comes up, but, you know, the proration, like, what Mr. Saper said, would be good, a prorated amount if someone were to pass midsummer or something, you know.
In this situation, we're just barely getting into the season, and so.
So do we want a motion to,
I would make a motion that we formulate a policy on deceased members, basically prorated on,
Based on quarter,
yeah,
every quarter
I think so.
of the season. So if it's before the quarter, it'd be, it
If
would
they've gone
full
through
discount.
half the season,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think they would probably even come knocking on the door.
Yeah.
But I think in a situation like this,
Yep.
anyway, I'd make that motion. Good luck writing it down, Angel.
all right, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion?
What do you want to do on this, wait till the next board meeting to approve?
No,
No,
this will just put it in his, really in
Yeah.
his control, but we've set it as a prorated based on the quarter. So the way I figured, there's 4 quarters in a golf season, March through October. So every 2 months, you can figure a prorated amount. Good?
I think your idea of giving the membership and golf cart back, and keep the range pass, and keep the range one.
So,
Okay.
Make it an easy way to do it.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. Anything else on your,
I do not have the outhouses open yet. I have a leak in each of them, and I gotta get those fixed yet. There is a small leak in the clubhouse for the cold water coming behind the bar or the counter. So we have hot water behind the counter, but not cold water, so, just to inform you that's going on. We did put power out to the north outhouse to put a vending machine in there for water and Gatorade. Since we're, as of right now, we're not going to put coolers out this year at least, so.
Where'd you get the ring power from?
The power's in the building.
Oh, yeah, like,
We took it up along the ceiling, out kind of the way the other one is. So we just had to get power to that other wall. So,
I assume that's up to you to stock that and
Yeah.
take care of that?
Yeah, when I talked to Eric Rao last time he was out, and that's available, so whenever I say bring it out, they'll bring it out.
Gotcha.
When do you anticipate having that?
this week. I'm gonna, since we're talking about below freezing, down to 24 this week, I'm probably not gonna this week. I'll probably put a little space heater in that middle part since I do have water to there. But I'll probably do the repairs this week. And then as soon as the weather turns again, we'll get it back up and running.
Is the women's bathroom in the clubhouse?
Yes. We did that, it hasn't been that long, maybe a week. But there again, probably for tomorrow night, we'll probably drain it back because they are talking 24 degrees tomorrow night. So, but yes, it is up and running.
And just an FYI, there's a Widowmaker hanging over the drive coming into the boat.
Okay.
And if the wind don't take it out, it's down close to it might, I just cleared my truck.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me
It's
know.
not big, it's only about 2 feet.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
But
So one of the first trees you drive in?
as you go in, now, it's on the
Okay.
of the ambulance stuff.
Yep, we'll take care of it. Yep, take care of the rest on the agenda. So, that's all I had.
Good. Motion to approve the superintendent's report. There we go. Got to rotate. Is there a second?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Meeting wore me out.
I gave Joe the stink eye.
Just, I don't think we have to approve the reports.
That's what I was thinking, but I know we have been.
I don't think we need to.
Withdraw my second.
Too late. You're on record.
You were doing so well, I just wanted to.
This formality thing. All right, donor guidelines.
I'll just make a couple of comments here, and I'll let Jason take over. He wanted to talk to you about some sort of donation guidelines for plaques, memorials, tree donations, benches. So I provided kind of a, no pun intended, a benchmark for you to look at and maybe use this as your guide. I also included the city resolution on what is permitted, but ultimately you'll have to make your own recommendations for donations and plaques and various things. Boy, this has got both of them on here, so that helps. So general donations, this is what we do over in parks. Obviously, there's no minimum required, but if you want a memorial, it's a $2,500 donation. It must cover the full cost of the feature. Tree donations is just $100. We don't allow plaques because they get lost and they're very hard to maintain because you have to weed eat around them. Bench donations, again, a minimum of $2,500 to make sure they cover the cost of something nice and we don't have different benches all over the place of varying values. And then that would also come with a plaque. Naming opportunities, I don't know if you guys would have anything like that. We have minimum donations of $10,000, $30,000 for new facilities. This is projects. This is new facilities. In existing facilities, same $30,000 minimum donation if they want to have naming rights to something. And then we also have signs where it says like, this is a Kiwanis Trail. It says developed by Palo City Peddlers. That's how we recognize people, just at the bottom of the sign. If they're some sort of donor or partnership sign. It's a sample for you, something to get started, and I'll let Jason kind of take over.
So I intended just to have a discussion, and not necessarily adoption of anything tonight, but this gives a baseline. But I had a family of a previous member approach me a while back about possibility of a bench or a plaque or something. And I know we've got multiple benches out there right now with plaques on them. We've got, I'm not even sure how many in the ground by trees. We've got some that are on the bottom of the T signs. So I guess I kind of wanted to see where you guys were at and what you wanted to see done. And, but I know I talked to Jeff about this, trying to keep it to just benches or, but try to stay away from anything in the ground. And
I know 5 to 8 years ago, there was a board motion approved to tree, plaques in the ground. Grandfather, the ones in that were here.
Yep.
And, plaques because of the rains and wars, and people get
Okay, I didn't realize
Do
that.
you guys have old minutes?
There are, I'd have to go through them. They're not digitized, but.
Maybe we should type for you.
So I guess it's just a matter, do we want to limit it to just benches or benches and the bottoms of T signs, or what's your guys' thoughts?
If they're gonna donate a tree, they,
Yeah, no, I'm not saying not donate a tree, but,
okay.
but I'm just saying as far as plaques and stuff like that.
I mean, you're getting into an area that's really difficult because, you know, families, each family might be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And to limit it to just specific things, you know, I think the board needs to approve everything that probably goes out there.
Okay, if that's
To
the way,
have a,
yep,
this is etched in stone, that's all you can do.
yep,
I don't, that doesn't sit well with me.
okay. Well, that's-
See, and I'd rather, I mean, not to contradict you, but I'd rather have it set where it's just benches or whatever the item is, and so people know that they can spend $2,500 and we provide the bench, or whatever the cost is of that, so we're not losing any money, and that's it. I mean, the trees and stuff, yeah, you can put tree anywhere, as long as there's no
And I
plaque.
could put, you could make, trees donated by your clubhouse, like if they want some recognition hanging on the wall, doesn't cost you nothing, you know.
Mhm.
I know in the past when we've discussed this, it was, we don't want to turn it into the Memorial Golf Course either, that everything out there is for somebody. And we're already getting revenue off the signage on the holes. So I mean, if somebody wanted to sponsor a hole, they'd have to do it for the income of the revenue from that hole. I don't know, what were you thinking besides?
No, I
benches?
don't know why we would even have to identify. I mean, look at the last 20 years. What's been donated or gifted out there?
Right.
I mean, we've got, what, 2 benches? And maybe 3 trees?
Is that all it's been?
No, there's a lot of bench stuff, like the one
Yeah.
on 3 is a custom made bench, but a lot of the benches.
Yeah, well, there's that Rob's, and then over on
14,
14,
13.
practice tree.
8,
Well, on 8,
4, isn't that?
14, he said good houses.
yeah, but there's, almost every hole has, I mean, it has a bench, but it has a plaque on it. It's not a custom bench that was made specifically for that person that passed away, but then, an engraving plate was made and put on that bench on almost, when you play it on almost.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. There's
Mhm.
more than just 3 or 4.
I-
There's probably, 13 of
I,
them.
I guess the one,
But even given that,
Yeah.
you know, that's just, I mean, it's not something that's done a lot.
Mhm.
Because then one has, on one tee box, has Steve Anderson's plaque
On the post.
On the post.
Flagpole was the guy that grew up with Danny Ruff and them, help me out here.
Kirk, not Kirk,
Del Curtis.
Del Curtis, yeah.
They donated flagpole. He might donate that for his wife.
But, I mean,
I don't know.
so,
it just isn't anything that,
okay, so if,
to put any kind of limitation.
yeah. Well, I guess if anything, I would like to limit it to one kind of bench. So at least that, and still come to the board, if that's the way you want to do it, come to the board with each request. But if it's gonna, I don't want to see 5 different kinds of benches with different kinds of plaques on there. At least standardize that.
I mean, literally, the bench that I've always thought was the nicest was houses.
Yep, and that is the one I would probably say is the one on 14, that is the one I would model it after.
Is that the same ones on practice green?
Practice range, or is on driving range, T.
How about North Green? Don't we have 4 benches around that?
Yep,
Yeah, 3 green, or 3 benches. Over on the old.
They would probably be.
Yeah, but weren't those provided by the lawnmowers?
I believe so.
Yeah, I
So-
think 14.
I don't know if the city farm or lawnmower, but yeah.
So there's
that's
some,
what we put in.
there's some benches that are
Yep,
I think it's one like the practice.
yep. I believe so, I don't recall for sure, but there are multiple of that bench out there. And I think that's the nicest looking one out there,
You know,
so.
For parks, we just came up with a minimum donation per bench is, you know,
Well, I mean, what are you giving to Nate with, if family comes up and says, we have a bench we want to grab, just say, we don't allow it?
that's correct, I mean, because, well, it depends, I mean, you can't have,
How do you explain it when the one they're gonna provide is nicer than the ones we're putting out?
that's why we did the minimum, to make sure that we could, they sit down with us and they choose a bench that way, it's a little bit easier, but we kind of guide them the direction of the choice, rather than a wood one here, or a, you know, a steel one over here.
I just want to know how you're gonna sign a sand trap that's gonna be named after me.
Yeah.
We'll put the plaque at the bottom of the sand.
Well, that's what my anxious.
Well, yeah, right underneath the plaque. So, do we want to,
What would you like us to present
Yeah.
in the future here at the next meeting?
You think like maybe they can donate and make one like the one on 14?
that's what I would suggest,
I like that. Can you buy them for $2,500? I have no idea.
about 800,
So that,
about 800.
Plus plaque
Yeah, that's just the bench.
and concrete,
Yep, and then concrete around it, and I mean,
labor.
and then maintenance down the road. So, I mean, I didn't get a quote on that bench right now, but that's what Kevin Thurman told me they were the last time he purchased them, so.
Remember the old shelters?
Mhm.
You got those removed?
Wow.
It's always nice to have a place to get out of the rain.
I forgot about those.
Wow, yeah.
You don't play, right, do you, Joe?
What?
You don't play, right, you get that.
Hey, I used to play in snow, and I never forgave Bob Walks more than that.
So what do you want from us?
Just direction on if you want an actual policy, or how do you want me to proceed? If
Just
If
do
you,
it on a,
if you just want, every donation comes to the board and you guys decide,
we can. I mean, that's, it's not a
I
lot.
think that's good, and you can bring your recommendation.
okay, that's fine.
I mean, it just doesn't happen that often.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm with Dan, and, I mean, if they want to donate a tree, that's done deal.
Are you all right with saying no plaque in the ground?
In the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look at the lots on 3.
Yep.
That's pretty good. You see the back of the, you know, houses got their own on it.
Yep.
On the back.
No, I'm talking about, for a tree donation, a plaque in the ground in front of it.
I'm sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's been outlawed.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
just what Dan brought up, if they do a tree
Okay.
donation, we could start putting a thing in the clubhouse
Yep.
that says tree on
Yep.
15 donated in memory
Yep.
of whoever, Brian Johnson.
So, okay.
And then just not have the plaque in the ground, just have it.
And in Brian's case, just say, there's a path that says love the tree.
Okay. So even as far as a bench, you don't want to have a $2,500 per bench or anything like that? Just strictly bring it back to the board
I'd
with my
say-
recommendation?
But that's gonna be, well, that would be my recommendation, throwing it out there, is that's what the cost is gonna be.
Yep.
And we can approve it each time.
Okay.
And that takes it off you and
Okay,
bring it to the board.
I'm fine with that.
All right. The master plan addendum,
So when we did the agreement with Kevin Norby, we knew this was hanging out there because the city had what they call LiDAR over mapping of the golf course, and it was not for sure if they would be able to extrapolate the information they need for the architect to extrapolate to do the topos. We got the information to him, and it wasn't quite enough, so he's what he called digitizing it. We knew that might be a $900 fee on top. So it's not that we didn't know that this isn't a possibility. We were hoping that it wasn't going to be, but it is what it is. So he's, we're going to have Jeff sign that and go forward.
Right, I'd probably seek a motion for that, yep.
okay, motion to approve the addendum to the, thank you. Second?
Yes.
Thanks, Joe. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
The other thing is that driving range expense upgrade. I guess I kind of already discussed that, but that's about a $10,000 upgrade. So this is more, don't need a motion on this, but just wanted to inform
It's coming.
it's coming.
Not the software anymore, so I'm trying to think back when we discussed this, the whole dispenser stuff, they have to get this whole new dispenser,
No.
or just the software for it.
It's basically the control panel and the software, and there's a,
So when we talked about, it, we didn't have a price, we didn't have a price.
where did that go?
It's crazy for this.
Yeah, it is quite, so it has a credit card and QR scanner,
You get the credit card out at the building now?
but it's just a matter of how we would be able to read that with our current POS system. I'd have to dig into that on how that would work.
I'd rather them come into the clubhouse,
So would I.
rather than just go out to the range and do that. Then
So-
we wouldn't have to use the credit card thing, but for my thing, I'd rather have them just purchase the token and buy it rather than go, because then they might play around or something, but.
Yeah.
So
What's the yearly on that maintenance fee?
currently it's about $900. Just this service contract on it. And that's the upgrades. If we have any issues, we have access to their technicians all over the phone, and if need be, they'll come out. But this $10,000 option, it's actually, so I got signed up for this quote now because with their new program, they have some promotion that installation training at no charge. So if we don't follow through with this down the road, it's probably going to be a little more for installation and training. So I got the quote so that we're kind of locked in. But like I said, I knew it wasn't in our budget for this year, so I informed them that it would be in 2022 if we do it. So no action needs to be taken, just informing. So.
Cross the fingers that the range machine doesn't go down.
Yep.
Because I think what the thing is now is range service, the software that's on there is the guy that owns that software, but it's not with range service.
He is.
Here he is.
He is. Hormuz is still with. So. Yep. And the other thing with this is I do have irrigation computer update also coming this, or next budget cycle, so it's just, everything's gonna get put together for the next year's budget, and just have to prioritize and see where we're at, so.
Well, we can always go back to giant buckets in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't need the practice.
So, when we get a little closer, I can share the, information that they sent me on all the, benefits and all there's some marketing stuff and just tracking parts of it, so, I can have a sit down with a couple of you and we can review it and see which direction we want to go, so.
Okay, anything else? Next meeting will be 5/10/21.
Before you move on that, it'll be a public event at the master plan public, so you'll be able to have a quorum there because it will be a public event, so everybody can come to that meeting. And so that's kind of going to be your next meeting, I would guess, but I don't know if Jason's thought about who's going to be involved with some of the other discussions with Norby afterwards. Maybe you can pick a few people and make that decision. I haven't talked with them about it yet, but just to remind you that we will be able to have a quorum at that public event, so everybody can come, because it will be released publicly.
Should that be our next board meeting then?
I wouldn't really call it a board meeting. What do you have to do, you know, Angel?
If it's just a public input, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah. So, we don't have to make it an official meeting or anything, but.
Okay. So our next official meeting date's the 10th, the Norby is on the 27th. We're adjourned.
You gonna send out a reminder on that 27th?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll make sure all you guys are
Send Joe to it.
informed and